Hey, today I have the pleasure to host Numan Ali. Hi, Numan.
Hey, Yusuf.
How are you doing?
Very good. How are you?
All good, all good. I'm very happy to have you with me here today. And
Likewise.
I was reading a few days ago the DBC Call SME blog, and I found your article about how to use Genie with system tables. So, can you first tell us more about you, and then tell us more about the blog?
Yeah, sure. First of all, my name is Numan. I'm a solutions architect. I've been working with Databricks for 2 years now. I'm based in London. Before joining Databricks, I've been, in different companies. My expertise are mainly in data warehousing and data engineering, and that is why I've gone through the time where we didn't have that, system tables and all those sort of observability. And then I had to build all of these things by myself on the data warehouses that we built. So it's with the system table, it's very easy to build these kind of things on Databricks now. So the blog, I think the idea is very simple. The concept is very simple. One of the most underrated feature in Databricks that I think is the system tables. Most of the people, or maybe half of the user, they don't know that we have system tables. And if they do that we have system tables, they don't know what level of information that we log in those system tables. You can go to the job level, the user level, can get the information out like how your jobs are doing, or they're working over the span of time. I think we keep like a very good history of that as well, and the latency is good. It's within the day. I think probably a couple of hours that you'll get this in. So when you do something in Databricks, within a couple of hours you'll see that reflected in system tables, which otherwise you'll have to capture that by yourself. So all of that operational metadata, operational information, we keep in system table. I think it's as I said, it's the most underrated feature in Databricks. But the concept is that how you make the system table more consumable, more maybe user friendly. They are very user friendly already. You have very good documentation. Even in the system table, you have very good metadata. You have the comments against all the columns, all the tables. So it's self-explanatory. But those system tables can also be, and they have relation as well. So the system table, they have those relationship with each other. But to an end user, let's say I'm, for example, a platform manager or maybe engineering manager, I don't want to go into system table. I don't want to write queries and everything. For an analyst, it's very easy. For admin, it's very easy to write query and everything, but I don't want to do that. So there are two ways to expose that those system tables. So one is the through the dashboard. So we have AI dashboards in Databricks, and our colleague Cody, he's been doing a great effort making all those dashboards, and those dashboards can also be imported and exported into your can be imported into your environment. So I think there's a huge effort going on there. The other way of doing it, or consuming those system tables relatively easily or in a user friendly way, is through Genie. So Genie is another feature that Databricks introduced probably last year, I think. You can create a Genie space on top of your on the data sets that you have, and then you can chat with your data. So a very common use case in any LLM world. Lots of users actually, when this whole LLM wave came in, and then the chat GPT, and one of the very first use case that users or customers that I work with, they asked us to do is to that how can I create an LLM on the data that I already have on Databricks, and I can chat or interact with my data before exposing end user, or before having end user on board to the Databricks as a platform. So Genie is the answer to Genie is the way to do that use case. Now Genie, you have system table, very well kept information, and then you have Genie. When you marry them together, you create sort of a Genie space. It's a very simple, and then I can show you that it's very simple to create that. And then you can just interact with your system table, and you can ask a question that, like what was my spend last day, or how is my spends this whole month. You can add in instruction to add some discounts and more information, and I can show you, I can demo you how do you do that. But yeah, the concept is very simple. You have the system table, very well kept information, and then you create a Genie space so that end user can be exposed to those Genie tables in a relatively simple way.
Yeah, and you mentioned the dashboard that Cody has released. So we did a recording about the I think data warehousing advisor dashboard, and another one developed by Joe Hu on the queries cost, DBC
Yes.
queries cost. So you can
Yeah.
view the two sessions.
Yeah.
And I think on your side, Newman, so you're gonna make two PMs happy.
Hmm.
Xiao from the Genie team and
Yeah.
Greg from the money team regarding the observability. So can you show us how you set up the environment and how your Genie looks like?
Yeah. Let me pull that up. Can you see my screen?
All good.
So yeah, this is the Genie space that I have created. You can see this is the name of the space. These are some sample questions that you can ask from the start. Just quickly show you what are the tables that I have added. So how do you do that? You basically go in here, you add different tables, you pull in different tables into a space, and then you create a Genie space. You can see that I have added these tables in there. So I've added clusters, usage information, list prices, jobs, and everything. And by the way, as I said, there is a very good documentation on Databricks side, Databricks documentation website. You can read about what is the information that we keep in these different tables, column by column attribute information, very detailed one. So if you don't know them, I won't go through the documentation or the metadata, but you can read in the Databricks website. So yeah, I've pulled in this information, and actually I started from the top. So how did I start? I started with like what level of information generally you would need on a day-to-day basis from the system table. So I thought that if I'm an engineering manager or a platform manager or a manager of any sort, I would like to know that, okay, what is my spend this year? So I can ask this question. So based on that, those couple of questions or the set of questions that I thought that an engineering manager or an admin would ask, I pulled in information from system tables and then added into this Genie space. I can also show you the instruction maybe later, but let me show you that how does it work. So I can ask a question, for example, what is my daily spend this month? And Genie, what Genie does is basically it only needs a SQL warehouse behind the scene. So what it does is that based on this, it converts this natural language into a SQL query, throw the SQL query onto a SQL warehouse, and then fetch that information back to you. You can also see that. So the good thing about Genie, or generally in the Databricks give you most of the features are very gloss box. So they are not black box that you can't see the code or you can't see anything behind the scene. For example, in this case, you can also see the code. So the code that Genie has generated. So if you are an admin, if you are a SQL developer, you can see that if you're happy with this code or not. So this is the code that Genie has created by just reading this simple question. And while it's yeah, there you go. This gives you the information. Okay, what is my daily spend? It has created a query based on that natural language and gave you this response. So daily spend. So 23rd of April, 22nd, 12th, all of that. I can sort that in, for example, descending order. I can see that 11th of April, for example, was the most expensive day. The next, and then I can ask the question, what was the most used product in on let's say 11th of April, and then Genie will go down, will go to the assistant table, will get this information out. So you can do this kind of investigation using this Genie space. And while it's loading the response, I'll pause for a second. Yusuf, do you have any comments or question?
No, no, sounds good.
Yeah, you can see that, okay, the response is that the most used product is model serving. So somebody has created a model serving, for example, and then that is the most used product that we can see from the system table. Another cool thing that Genie has introduced lately is Genie also suggests the follow-up questions. You can see on the at the bottom there are some follow-up questions that Genie is suggesting. So what was the total spend for the most used product? How many units of most used product and things like that. So it suggests to like follow-up question as well, just like any other LLM.
And those follow up are like some questions you already inserted in the instructions, or is Genie finding the context based on the data?
It's the Genie finding the context based on my chat, based on the data, and suggesting me the follow-up question.
And can you show us what the instructions looks like,
Of
just to show
course.
them how they can configure the same steps on their
Yep.
environment?
So in the blog that I wrote, and Yusuf, I think yeah, you'll share the link as
Yeah.
well at the bottom of this video. I have added all this instruction in that blog, so you can copy paste and then start from there. One of the things that I have learned using Genie is that when you add those instructions incrementally, Genie works better as compared to adding them like all at once. But I mean, I've done all the hard work for you, so you can take all these instruction, copy paste into your own to create your own Genie space. So you don't have to do that. So these are the instruction. for example, that I have added. One of the they are, for example, the very first one is that I've added. I've The instruction is that use billing.usage.billing origin product to answer product related question. So in Databricks, there are two, or system table, there are two things. There are SKUs and there are products. So SKUs are, for example, they are more detailed ones. So we have different pricing for different features based on different region. They become the SKUs, but they are all grouped into one product. So for example, model serving help will have different SKUs, but it is basically all of those SKUs are clubbed and grouped as one product. So that is why, and that information is kept in the billing underscore origin underscore product attribute. That is why I have instructed Genie to use this column if somebody asks product related question. If somebody asks the same question for example, what was the most used, let's say, what were the most used SKUs, it will give you a slightly different response based on the SKUs. So these are all the instructions that you can add in. Another piece of information. So these are simple one. Most of the data, not most, but maybe half of the you can, yeah, you know that you can use Databricks as a pay as you on the pay as you go basis as well, but you can also have a contract with Databricks. And when you have a contract mostly for the AWS customer and maybe I think GCP customers as well, then you in some cases get some kind of discount on different products. So while your spend, the spend that this response, you can see the spend in here. This is basically based on the list prices. This is not based on the discounts that you have with Databricks. And the reason is that Databricks only keep the list prices on the system table. It can't go into the user level, like the actual customer level, and I'll add also those contract or those discounts as well. So what you can do is that you can add those discounts as an instruction. So I have added those discounts. That I have the SQL discount 0.15, all purpose discount 0.10, DLC 0.20. This is just an example discount. And then what I have added as an instruction that multiply total spend of a product with their respective discounts to get the actual spend. So if I ask this question in a different way, what is my daily discounted spend this month? Then this will multiply the list prices with the discount that I have added in here, and will give me the discounted spend. And this is the information that you would not have otherwise in a system table. So you'll have to add that maybe as a lookup table if you are creating a dashboard or writing a SQL query. In Genie, it's very easy. You just add those discounts here. Just add one line, and that's it. Genie will understand. And I can see that if I click on the generate code, you can see that what is it doing, that based on the product, if it is SQL, then multiply by with 0.85. Then 0.85 is basically the actual one, and all purpose is 0.90 DLC. Multiply that with the actual spend, the list spend, list price. You'll get the discounted spend. And you can see that the response Genie has created. So on 1st of April, for example, my total spend was 25K, but the discounted spend is actually 23K. This is the spend. This is the amount that I'm more interested in compared to the list price.
Now you can either use a dashboard or use Genie to understand your costs. And I think there is something also cool that was announced a few days ago. So if you have the dashboard, the consumption dashboard, and for example, you see an outlier or an anomaly, you can just click and debug, and Genie will open and will explain what was the source of this anomaly. Someone starts developing on working on a new use case. So it's something super super cool. So you see that the ecosystem is getting better and better. My advice: just go read Numan's blog, develop your own Genie on the top of Databricks costs. And if you don't have, just keep in mind that the only requirement is to have system tables enabled. If it's not the case, we will find the documentation below to make sure that you can enable system tables, and then you will start benefiting from all those features. Anything to add, Numan, before we close?
Yeah, I mean, there is but one thing that just want to add, that this is just an example one. So you'll take this instruction, you'll take the Genies to take this idea away. You can expand this idea based on whatever your requirement as a user or as an organization is. And then you can create like a very good Genie space that you can hand it over to like end user, consumer, whoever is the right recipient of this information. you can hand it over to them and they can start that. The other thing is that this is Genie space. Genie also have the APIs, so you can create if you don't want the user to come onto the Databricks platform, for example, and then interact with this particular chat interface, you can expose Genie space to via APIs into an app, for example, or a web interface, or even you can integrate Genie with your Microsoft team, for example. So there are some case studies, there are some blogs as well. I think I've added that link at the end of my blog. So there are some other blogs that you can read, that how do you integrate Microsoft Teams with Genie. So this space can be integrated with the Microsoft team, so that user doesn't have to actually come into Databricks platform to interact with Genie.
That's perfect. Thank you so much, Numan, and see you soon maybe for our next your next blog post.
Yeah, see you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.